Hello, everyone. My name is Skyla Post with SkylaPosts.com, and on this channel, you'll find videos all about teaching online to make an income from home. So, let's get started. In this video, we're going to talk about Outschool and their application. Specifically, an Outschool application checklist that I've made for you. So down below in the comments is a link to your free download of the application checklist that I have created. The reason I'm going through this video is that you have an idea of what is on the application, how to fill it out, along with resources to help you. When you download this checklist, there will be links, helpful links throughout. So if you have a moment, pause this, download and open up the PDF or print it off, come back, hit play, and let's go. Let's get started. Okay, so the very first page, it just says Outschool application checklist created for you by Skyla's Posts. Then I went ahead and wrote down the requirements from the company. Okay, so to do Outschool, you need to be 18 years old, have one or more expertise or passion that you will base your classes around, willing to follow Outschool community standards, observe class content policy, reliable internet, technical know-how, willing to learn Zoom, good command of written and spoken English, pass the background check, residing full-time in the USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, or the UK. Now, from my understanding, the reason that you are to be residing in these countries is because that's who the company who does the background checks has access to information. And then one side note, they do pay through PayPal, so you do need a PayPal account. Okay, so those are the requirements to apply. And then I wrote to apply visit, and there is a link there. Click here to apply for Outschool. That is my referral link, okay? So when you are applying for Outschool, use a referral link, find a coach, okay? If that's me, thank you. I'm happy to help you. Download the checklist, shoot me an email because I want to help you. I want to give you all the resources that I've created for you and get you through this process. Keep in mind that I don't get your personal information from Outschool. When someone uses a referral link, we can either see a blank name, anonymous, or a first name. That's it. And it will say applied, not approved yet, or approved. That's all we see. So for me to help you, you need to email me and tell me that you're in my system because then I can email you all the goodies. If you have a referring person already, wonderful, welcome. Download the guide anyway, the checklist, application checklist anyway, and use whatever is most helpful for you, okay? But make sure that you use an actual URL referral link from that person, okay? If you just go to the website and create a login, you are not linked to a referring teacher. And it's a little bit harder to get added later. You can also check out my video. I have 2 videos about the referral programs with Outschool. One is for referring parents, which teachers can do and parents can do, and then about referring teachers. Okay? So again, it does talk about that and how to get someone added, but the easiest way is to go ahead and use the link that your referrer gives you and go from there, okay? Just make it easy on everybody. Now, here's the first 5 things, the 5 main areas that this checklist goes through. Basic application, we'll talk about what you'll need to fill it out. Your introduction video, background check, submit a class, and schedule sections. Okay, so that's the 5 main areas that this checklist covers. Okay, so if you go to the next page, there's a big box that says basic application. It has 5 boxes, again, that you can check off as you have completed those sections of the application. The first part is educational background. So you'll be filling in your educational background, your teaching experience, Then background and experience you have in topics you want to teach, what you have to offer, personal information, and fun things about you, family, hobbies, interests, etc. Okay? So when you are in the actual application, those are the first areas that you'll fill out. Okay? Educational background, if you happen to have a degree or certificate of some kind, write it down. If you do not, and you've done some college, or you have a GED, or any kind of educational background that you have, put it in there. Teaching experience. Think about all of the things, whether it was in classroom teaching or some kind of tutoring, or maybe you taught classes at church. That's teaching experience. If you have online teaching experience, put it on there. If you have preschool teaching experience, put it on there. So really don't limit yourself. Really think about teaching opportunities that you've had, paid or unpaid, and put it in there. Okay? Under background and experience, you have in topics you want to teach. So for me, I am certified to teach a group fitness format. So when I was talking about that, I just put a couple sentences about my group fitness classes. I also am passionate about teaching preschool age children. So I went ahead and talked about my background and experience with preschool age children. Do you see kind of where this is coming from? And then what do you have to offer? Okay, so just know these are the things that you will be filling in. So think about them when you're looking at this checklist before you even get to the application, so that by the time you get there, you can fill it out so quickly and be done. All right. Number 2 on the second page in the little box says introduction video. Now, it needs to be between 30 and 90 seconds. That's all. Okay? There is also an example video. This example is my intro video that I created, that I submitted. It's the exact copy of what I submitted with my application, so that you have an idea of how that can look. Okay? So that's tagged right there. And then on the Outschool website, it talks about what to put in there. And I forgot to open that part up. I opened up another page to share with you. But what it suggests is you can either introduce yourself and your credentials and talk about your classroom atmosphere. That is what I did in my video, and you will see that. But it also says that you can choose to teach a little something. So if I wanted to take that route, I could have grabbed a book and did a little mini lesson where I'd be reading to children or something like that. So that's another option. So while you're in there and you're filling out that box, there is a little more description and detail. But essentially, your video is accompanying what you just wrote. Does that make sense? So we just filled out the basic application part, talking about teaching experience, educational background, what you have to offer. Now the introduction video is you basically picking out which parts of that you want to put in video format. That's literally what it is. And so mine is something like, hello, my name is Skyla, and I have a bachelor's degree in child development, an emphasis in dance and culinary arts. I also have a TESOL certificate which stands for teaching English as a second language, that type of thing. And then I go into things I'm passionate about, experiences I have, and then I end with a little bit about my family. So click on that link. It's just clickable right there in the PDF. It will take you right there. So that example's there. If you go to the next page, it has a box labeled number 3 that says background check. Now this box is very important for you because sometimes people wait a long time for their background check to come back, and sometimes people wait just a few minutes. Now, patterns that I've seen in recruiting and helping people is that if you have lived in multiple states, or if you have moved many, many times, or had anything like that, can sometimes make it take longer because they have to pull records from multiple places. So a lot of people that end up waiting several days or a week or 2 is usually because of that. So I have a lot of friends that stayed in the same state, didn't move a lot, those type of things, and they had theirs back within 5 minutes to 2 days. It really can vary. And then I have lived in a couple of different states, and then I've moved several times within the states. So I was waiting and waiting and waiting, and it had been like 8 or 9 days, and I hadn't heard anything. Well, in this box, there is a link to checker.com. So once you have completed your application and Outschool has said, congratulations, they've gotten back to you and that kind of thing, then you can go check on the status of your background check by clicking the link in this box on page 3, section 3, where it says number 3, okay? That's why this is so helpful. So no matter who is helping you, this is so helpful for you because now you have the direct link and then you put in your information and it will tell you the status of your background check. So when I did that, it showed me that all the main areas they check were done that same day because it gives you dates, and I think some of them even have times on it. I'm trying to remember. And but they didn't finish verifying me. And I don't know if the verification had to do with the multiple states or not, but I do know that once I checked on it, and I also had emailed support@outschool.com asking about the status of my background check to finish my application, then it came through soon after. I'm not saying checking it will make it come through. That may have been a coincidence for me, but it's nice to know and have some kind of idea where they're at in the process. So use that link and check on it. With that said, it could take, for a lot of people, up to 2 weeks. I'm not going to cap that off. Don't quote me on that. But most everyone I've seen has been within the same day to 12 days is the majority of what I've seen. Know that that's not a hard stopping point, but it should give you a good range. And the next thing that's really important from this page is the Outschool Teacher Guide. I have a direct link to it for you. That takes you straight to Outschool's Teacher Guide. This is all of their official content that they feel that you will need. And maybe when you're clicking around the website, it's hard for you to get to. Well, not anymore. Download the file and click on it. This is an example of what's included in your teacher guide. Now, they have a Get Started section that has prospective teacher FAQ, new teacher FAQ, frequently asked questions, how it works, becoming a teacher on Outschool, I read a subcategory while I was scrolling. Becoming an Outschool teacher, teacher background checks, teacher earnings and payments, teacher profile standards, teacher profile video guidelines, how to use Outschool as a teacher. That's the first section. When you click this, that's everything from them, and every single one of those headings is clickable with more information. Class formats and standards is their next section. Online class formats for teachers, class content policy, listing classes subjects, standards for listing classes. That's where you'll find your copyright information. So that's a side note. So standards for class listings. Okay, I'm not going to word it that way. Your teacher guide that you open, go to class formats and standards, scroll down to standards. Standards for class listings. Within that has their current copyright policies. And I know that's something that people are really worried about. It's a little bit vague, but no, right now in May of 2020, they are working with lawyers to make a more detailed guide. So that will be updated very soon, but their current official word that Outschool has as a guidance for you for copyright is in that section. Okay? Then photo guidelines, flexible schedule classes. There's information on that. That's a listing, a way you can list a class. It's a little bit different because that one is not live. It's their only not live class. Sample classes, things like you can see there's an offering classes section. There's a running classes section, other topics. Okay. So if nothing else, this is helpful for that link. And I suggest that while you're waiting, your application's already in, you're waiting for approval, you're waiting on your background check, go through the guide. I bet that you will find so many answers to so many questions in the guide. Now, the next section on this page is number 4. It says submit a class. Now listen to this. This is what is in this document. Be sure to only submit one class when getting approved for the first time. You want to learn the process. That is my suggestion, okay? So, Yes. And then there's 2 checkboxes in this submit a class section, listing your first class and standards for class listings. Again, that's a direct link to the Outschool website. So instead of finding these sections within the teacher guide, I put them there for you. Read through that before you do your first class, okay? But that's what I recommend. Also, when you are doing your first class and you're submitting it to Outschool, so you submit classes, they approve it, then you have control over when you open them and those kinds of things. Dates and times, those are called sections of a class. If you pick a day and time, that's one section. Pick a day and time, that's a section. That's all that means. But they want to make sure that you understand how to do it. So when you're doing your very first class, this is how it is right now. This is subject to change, but right now has to be a one-time class. We'll go into more detail about that in my video that's coming soon about course creation. So check that out as well. But your first class has to be a one-time class. Now keep in mind, you'll create the class. It's set up that each student takes it once, but you can open it up multiple days and times and teach the same one lesson to multiple students. Okay? So it's one time for that individual, but you can open as many sections or dates and times as you please and teach that same lesson plan that you wrote over and over and over to new students. That's how a one-time class works. But keep in mind, your first class has to be a one-time class. And also, if you are just writing classes like crazy and you submit the first one and then you find out that you need to make some changes or it's not quite the process that you thought, you might have to go fix all your drafts for all your other classes if you got a little ahead. Does that make sense? So keep jotting ideas down and have ideas coming, but I really encourage you to just focus on the first class first so that you really learn how to do it so that the others just go so much more quickly. So on the next page, the section 5 says schedule sections. Like I said, sections are just the dates and times you open up that class that you have. What is a section? Sections are the dates and times you offer or list each class. Create at least 2 future sections for this class. This is a suggestion. So when you have your very first class and you are creating it, open up a few dates and times so that you can be found and start getting booked so you can get that first class under your belt and hopefully some 5-star parent reviews so that you look credible as fast as possible. The more sections you have open, the more likely parents can find you and enroll with you. Makes sense. Opening more sections as well as considering, I'm just reading what I have written on the paper, but opening more sections as well as considering having some sections 2 weeks out helps Outschool with promoting your classes. They promote for you. You can also share listings and promote yourself. Don't pay to promote yourself because Outschool's already advertising for you, okay? But the 2 weeks out is their suggestion. When you list a new class, whether it's your first or not, if you're listing that class for the first time, they recommend you give them 2 weeks so that they can advertise for you for 2 weeks. Now, can you open up classes in less than 2 weeks? Absolutely. Can you still potentially get found in less than 2 weeks? Absolutely. But your chances are higher if you give it the 2 weeks. I did kind of in the middle. I opened up some within 2 weeks and some outside of 2 weeks, and I did get a few bookings trickling in on those that they hadn't had time to advertise because I was sharing with some people. Also, just so you know, if you have classes open and it doesn't work for the parents, maybe their schedule doesn't work but they're interested in your class, they can send you a message and it comes through your email from Outschool, and they can ask or request you to open a time that works for them. So that's really cool. Then on the next page, if you need a coach, email me at skylessposts@gmail.com. And then there's more links on here. So all of my social media things, I have a Facebook group that my friend Rachel and I created. It's called Navigating Outschool, Support and Resources for Online Teachers. And anybody can join that, whether I'm your coach or not. It's full of great resources. But if you want a link to my business Facebook page or my Instagram or my website or anything like that, the Facebook group, it's linked in this document. And then most everything is always linked below too. So, yes, what are your questions? I hope you found this helpful. Just get the guide because it gives you a place to start. Even if you've already started your application, but maybe you're having a hard time finding some of the resources that you found once, but you can't find them again, they're probably in that teacher guide that's just linked right there on the third page. One really cool added little bonus I want to mention is Outschool has now added a teacher training. Yay! Thank you, Outschool. So to find your teacher training, once you are already in the system, so current teachers, even if you're new, if you log in on outschool.com and you click teach, you have choices up on the top right, click teach. It will automatically open their first tab under Teach, which is Schedule. And if you look over on the top right, it says Start Training Now. Okay, so that's where you find it. And you can do training in there as well. So many, many great resources. I'm thankful for your time. I hope that you found this helpful. Feel free to comment below any questions or thoughts or what you found the most helpful. Just let me know, and I'll see you soon.